the new topic, and that was why. Why does the Shaykh then talk about istinja and istijmar?
If you need to do istinja, then you have to, if you need to make wudu, then you have to istinja.
Barakallahu feek. There is a statement that the scholars of the madhab Imam Abu Hanifa, madhab Imam Shafi'i, there's a statement that they make, and that is that al-istinja precedes wudu. Al-istinja and istijmar precede wudu. This is what is written in the books. Some of the people, they took this statement that every time you need to make wudu, you have to what? Go and make istinja. So they literally, they come, they don't need the toilet, but because they need to make wudu, they need to what? They think they require istinja, because this is what they read in the same. But what the madahibs are saying, the question that they asked, are you allowed shar'an? Imagine you urinated or you defecated, akramakumullah. Are you allowed to do wudu before making istinja and then going to do istinja later? Are you allowed to do this? This question was asked. Is it a condition? Is it a condition for you to be able to make wudu that you have to make istinja and istijmar prior to the wudu or not? This is where the issue comes in. And it is not. It is not from the conditions of wudu. From the conditions of the wudu is whatever that was causing you to make the wudu, you have to what? That has to finish. So if you're urinating, you need to finish the urination. If a sister is menstruating, also and so forth. But after that, can you make wudu? Can you make wudu? Because the wudu is the istinja, the head of the istinja is the removal of najasa. Can you remove a najasa afterwards? Some might have the picture in their mind to say, but for you to remove and to make istinja or istijmar, you have to use your hand. You have to touch your private part. Let's just say, hypothetically, you wear gloves. You wear gloves. Or you have some, in the future, one toilet that is like, one of those AI toilets that does it for you. In this case, the hands are not touching. Are you with me, ikhwani? So this is where the issue comes in. This is where the issue comes in. And the madhab, the opinion of the madhab, and others have gone against it, is that istinja and istijmar have to precede the wudu. That's why we have this topic here. Are you with me, ikhwani? So you shall have that picture in your mind, and you have to ask yourself, okay, what the topics are. So you understand the book that you're studying at the moment is book al-ibadat. Ibadat starts with tahara. Tahara is with water. Water is the types of water, and then you've got the water, what you carry is aniya. The aniya, which ones are not allowed, which ones are allowed, and then you go down and you say, okay, this now you have to understand why al-istinja. Why istinja comes straight away after? Because before you can proceed to the wudu, you have to what? Remove whatever impurity. Are you with me, ikhwani? And from istinja, we said it's anything that comes out of the sabilain, the two, the front or the back, except what? Gas, or that which is tahir. And what is meant by tahir? What is mani? Mani is tahir, it's not najas. You do the istinja from najazat. And mani is not najas. Mani requires for you to do ghusl. And ghusl itself is not tandif, it's not, you're not removing najasa. Rather, it is an act of worship, it's ibadah. Are you with me, ikhwani? So, وغير ملوث. What the Shaykh mentioned here, وغير ملوث. What did we say regarding this, ikhwani? Who written it? وغير ملوث. نعم. Purple. Like, najasa is all about if there are remnants. If there is no sign of najasa on your skin, then you don't do istinja just for the sake of istinja. Imagine, hypothetically, you go to the toilet and literally dry pebbles come out, stones, out of you. And it does not leave any remnants on your skin where the najasa came out from. There's nothing there. Do you need to do istinja? There's no need for istinja, because istinja is for the removal of najasa, and that's what the Shaykh said, وَغَيْرَ مُلَوَّث. And then from the bab istinja, what you should have is, when does one require istinja? First of all, what is istinja? And this is another important thing or important topic that one must understand. The terminologies, the words. Later on, things that we've covered is najasa, najas, tahara, istinja, istijmar, hadath. What does these words, what do they mean? And you have to build this vocabulary. You have to have literally on the side or on a booklet, and you have to list these vocabularies on the side. Every time a new noun or verb comes, you need to what? Write it down and understand what that means, because these terminologies will be repeated throughout. And they are terminologies that are linked to your deen. Are you with me, ikhwani? From the Bab al-Istinja or Dukhul al-Khala, after that, then the Shaykh mentioned the sunan of going to the toilets. And again, without looking at it, just memorized from start to the end. So the first thing that the Shaykh starts with is that, what ikhwani? Saying Bismillah. Then saying, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubthi wal-khaba'ith. Followed by what? And before you, no, this is the statement that you say. No, what did the Shaykh say? How do you get yourself ready? تغذية رأس. Cover your head. You wear na'alayn. And then as you are about to enter, you say, Bismillah, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubth wal-khaba'ith. And then you enter with your left leg. With right or left? With your left leg. And then, after he teaches you the manner in which you go in, the place in which you relieve yourself has to be what? Makan? Rakhu. What does that mean? Soft ground. So, what is the objective? There is no splashback. Likewise, while you are doing the deed, what is from the sunan? Things that you should not do is grab your male part with your right hand. And when the bowl finishes, how do you supposed to clean yourself? With your left hand, but how do you do it? from the base to the front, and you wash it like this. Again, these things that we're mentioning, some of them, and were not true. That's also mentioned, not true. يعني shaking it out. These things are things which يعني some of the brothers are laughing. يعني the madahib might be different in opinion. أيود me إخواني. But what I want you to get إخواني in your head is before you go into different madahibs and qawl al-rajih, just have this. Have this in your mind so you understand. And then later on, when you have this base, you then will grow and you will know which ones agree from the other madahibs, which one has evidence, and so on and so forth. Are you with me, إخواني? Barakallahu feekum. After that, in the same topic, so we studied in Bab Istinja, the place, what kind of place it should be. It should be a place that is far from the people. It should not be seen. We talked about the place must be يعني rakh, soft, and there should not be any splashbacks. We talked about when going in, how you get there and you hayya. We talked about what you say before entering, what you're not allowed to do while you're inside. What you're not allowed to do is what? Take anything that there is the kalam of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Should not take kid in there. Likewise, you must not what? Talk and remain in there, يعني, and what is not necessary for you to remain in. Likewise, the facing of the qibla if you are outside, or turn your back on the qibla if you are outside. But if you are in a building, that hukum does not apply. After that, we started to talk about the issue, ikhwani, of istijmar. What's the difference between istinja and istijmar? Istijmar, you do not use water. The Shaykh says, وَالسُنَّةِ استجمار ثم استنجاء بماء. It is sunnah for you to do istijmar, and then istinja. Istijmar meaning wiping. You wipe yourself and then you wash with water. And then he said, وَيَجُوسُ الْإِقْتِصَارُ عَلَى أَحَدِهِمَا. What does that mean, ikhwani? You can do one. You can only do the wipe, even with the presence of water. Can you do that? Yes, you can do that. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala had made the deen yusr. Sometimes you will find brothers, Muslims outside their homes, and they are in public places, and they're looking for what do you call a bottle. A bottle. Some might even buy, which is alhamdulillah khair, but you do not have to. The Shaykh says, لكن الماء أفضل حينئذ. If you have a choice of the two and you cannot combine, then using the water is preferred of the two, better of the two choices. Then the Shaykh says, ولا يصح استجمار إلا بطاهر مباح يابس منقن. Istijmar. What are the conditions of the istijmar? You can make istijmar if you have something that is tahir, that is mubah. What does that mean? It's not what? Stolen or taken unjustly. Yabisin. Dry. So if something wet, you cannot make istinja with it. So let's just say someone gets tissue and puts it under the water. wets the tissue and then decides to wipe himself with it. This is not istijmar. This is not.
Could it be istinja?
Huh?
Could it be istinja? The tissues.
The brother asked, can this be considered to be istinja? No. Because the tissue is only wet. Can it be used? That's a different issue, inshallah, we will talk about in a minute. Is it allowed for you to use it? That's something else. What we're talking about now is to understand the terminologies. Istinja is not for you to get a wet tissue or wipe, baby wipe, and then you wipe yourself with. This is not istinja. Are you with me, Ikhwani? Likewise, it is not istijmar. Istijmar has to be what? Conditions has to be dry, yabis. That is munqin. Dries the place. The objective of the istijmar is to dry the spot, not to remove يعني the athar of the najasa, the remnants of the najasa from the body, but rather to dry the place. So the only thing that should be left when you do istijmar should be that which only water can remove. So how do you know when something, يعني, the place has become dry? Is that if you were to use tissue again, there is nothing coming with it. No matter how many times you do that. And then the Shaykh spoke about the things which you are not allowed to use for istijmar. And he gave an example and he said, وَحَرُمَا بِرَوْثٍ وَعَظَمٍ, يعني animal droppings or bones or food or that which is connected to an animal. And then, after mentioning what type of thing that you can do istijmar with, the Shaykh mentioned another condition, and that is وَشُرِطَ لَهُ عَدَمُ تَعَدِّي خَارِجِ مَوْضِعِ الْعَادَةِ. Condition. الطاهر مباح يابس منقن. Here he says a condition is that the najasa has not spread. So if you urinate, for instance, you're urinating, you're sitting down, and the urine goes into your thigh. You're not allowed to get a tissue and start wiping it. You are allowed to use the tissue to what? To remove it from the point of exit. But if the najasa spreads, you're not allowed. Now you have to use water. Likewise, for the other side, you have to do if the najasa spreads. The scholars then they talked about what constitutes the najasa spreading. How far does it need to go? How far does it need to go? Again, there is nothing specific from the Sharia, but again, it goes back to يعني that which is, and also you should take your deen serious without يعني making it difficult upon yourself. Sometimes when you urinate, you might find the point of exit, the skin has يعني tightened, and the urine comes back to the top of the penis, يعني the head. In this case, the scholars, some of them say, as long as it doesn't pass halfway of that, halfway of the penis head. And in terms of when it comes to يعني akramakumullah, if you are defecating, that from the point of exit, if it goes down the cheek, it should be only slight, less than halfway of the opening of the cheek. This in this case, because people are different. Because there will be some people who are, in terms of heavy built, and maybe when they urinate or defecate, it's inevitable that maybe some of the najasa will touch certain other part of the body. In this case, it goes back to again, يعني that which is not considered to be fahish. Are you with me, Ikhwani? Do you understand that, Hamoud?
Slightly, يعني.
Okay. What the Shaykh said is that from the conditions of istijmar is that it must not exceed the exit point. He said, وَشُرِدَ لَهُ عَدَمُ التَّعَدِّي خَارِجْ مَوْضِعِ الْعَادَةِ. This is the condition. This is what the Shaykh says. Some of the scholars then mentioned what constitutes ta'addi. What constitutes ta'addi exceeding? When shall I consider that it has gone past? Because the anus, akramakumullah, is a small hole. And it's inevitable that the skin around it sometimes will be affected. So in this case, if it goes past this, am I allowed to do istijmar? This is where the question comes. When? Do you understand, Ikhwani? So here it says, as long as the ta'addi is not outside the circle where the point is. So in terms of the urination, is the head, the front part or halfway of the penis. And when it comes to defecation, akramakumullah, is around the anus. Are you with me, Ikhwani? Is that clear? Then the next condition that the Shaykh mentioned is وَثَلَاثُ مَسِحَاتٍ مُنْقِيَّةٍ فَأَكْثَرٍ. 3 masahat. 3 minimum. And this is Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam nassa alayh. Mentioned that 3. Mentioned by the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So 1 wipe is not enough. 3 wipes. 3 wipes that dry the place. Each time it dries the place. If the 3rd wipe comes back with there's nothing on it, nothing on it, then you don't need to go to more than that. فأكثر. And the akthar here, again, from the sunnah, it has to be odd numbers. So 5, 7, 9, 11 and so on. You with me, Ikhwani? So the point in which you stop the istijmar on the wipe is when there is what? Nothing coming back with the wipe. Nothing. If there are remnants, then that istijmar is not enough. You have to what? Continue. Now, can you use the same tissue? If it's big and you are flipping it, and you're turning it, or you are, and the area that you are using is an area that is unconnected, then it's fine. As long as you're not using somewhere covered with najasa, then this is not, it is not allowed. Are you with me, Ikhwani? So again, we said istinja is with water. Istijmar is wiping. You can use either. Mixing them and doing both is best. That you do the istijmar first and then istinja. If you have the choice of the two, then you do the istinja. Istijmar, the condition is that it must not exceed the point of exit. And as well, there must be minimum of 3 wipes. And what you are using itself has to be that which can achieve the objective. And it has to be something which is tahir. If itself is najas, then you cannot use it. It has to be yabisin munqin, yani that which is able to dry the place. You might get something which is tahir, but it's actually all it does is spread the najasa. So if you are using, like, let's just say, plastic or rubber, what's going to happen? It's not going to dry the place. All it does is what? Or metal or whatever. It's just going to spread the najasa. It's not going to dry the place. Are you with me, ikhwani? Now, going back to the point, the example that I gave regarding the wet tissue. Can that be used? This goes back to the difference among the scholars of can najasa be removed with other than water? Can najasa be removed with other than water? If you have the opinion and you take the opinion of the madhab, and which is also the jumhur of the scholars, Malikiya, Shafi'iyya and Hanabila, they hold you have to use water. Then in this case, getting a tissue with water in it and trying to do istinja with it. If the istinja is from urine, and by just squeezing it, there is enough water that is coming from that is able for you to wash your, the peens, or where the najasa came up from, then this is fine. But that amount of water is not enough for defecation. Are you with me, ikhwani? Because you're using, if you take the opinion of only water can remove the najasa. But we have another opinion, and this is the minority, the madhab of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah ta'ala rahmatan wasi'ah. And this is the opinion chosen by Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, that the objective of the istinja and the istijmar, or the removal of the najasa, is to what? Remove the najasa. To remove izalatu ayn. Ayn is not itself ibadah. In itself is not ibadah. It is what? The objective is to remove the najasa. So by that, whatever means that this can be achieved, then the objective of the istinja is to remove the athar of there being any remnants. So taking the place back, making it as clean as it was before the najasa came out. That's the objective of the istinja. And the istijmar is to dry the place. This is the object, to dry it so much that there is nothing coming off the skin except that which the water will remove. So if you have something that can achieve this, then this is fine. So by that, if one was to use baby wipes, for instance, to clean the place, and this achieves the process of really there being nothing on there, then this is accepted. This is fine. To the extent that Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala says that if the removal of the najasa, for instance, if it can be achieved with the shams, the sun heating it, and then it's just disappearing, or a wind coming and then taking it, khalas, it's done, the najasa is gone. Are you with me, ikhwani? No. But again, when it comes to this type of najasat, which is mughallada, on going to the toilet, one must take it very serious. And now, inshallah, we'll start the topic of bab السواك وخصال الفطرة. نعم أخي.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وأصلي وأسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم اغفر لنا ولشيخنا وللمسلمين والمسلمات. أما بعد، يقول الشيخ محمد بن بدر الدين بن بلبان في كتابه أخصر المختصرات في فقه على المذهب الإمام أحمد بن حنبل رحمه الله فصل يسن السواك بالعود كل وقت.
نعم. إخواني, Sheikh now starts with Bab Siwak, chapter of Siwak wa Khisal al-Fitra. What is the link between this and where it falls under? We talked about the water, we talked about the aniya and the reason, and then we've got istinja that came before it. Everything is going towards where? Preparing for what? Before the salah. Wudu. So what does the siwak got to do with this? No. Go on. الشق عند كل وضوء. نعم. يعني النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم سن بقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم that وفعله that siwak before wudu or siwak عند الوضوء. So the scholars, they said that before you do the wudu, there is a manner that you approach the wudu, and that's why we talked about istinja and istijmar. The istinja precedes the wudu. Likewise here, a siwak. Before you begin the wudu, you have to do يعني siwak. And siwak, ikhwani, is using stick or other than that to brush the teeth and the tongue. This is called siwak. The Shaykh says, يُسَنُّ سِوَاكُ بِالْعُودِ كُلَّ وَقْتٍ. It is sunnah for you to do and use siwak all the time. All the time, he says. All the time. As the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said in the hadith that is sahih, as-siwaku matharatun lil fam, is cleanliness and purification for the mouth. Mardatun li Rabb, and it's something which is pleasing to Allah. So as such, if one is doing it to please his Lord as an act of ibadah and to use it, then this is something which is يعني commendable, and something which is sunnah. نعم أخي.
إلا لصائم بعد الزوال فيكره ويتأكد عند صلاة ونحوها.
نعم. He says إلا لصائم بعد الزوال فيكره. After mentioning that to use the siwak with a stick all the time, it is sunnah. He said, except when a person who is fasting after zawal, midday, and after dhuhr. After dhuhr has entered, فيكره, it is makruh. And again, this is the reason that the scholars, they say it is makruh, is that there is not, and we will mention some other things also, and some of the things we covered previously. And this is an important point, ikhwani. When it comes to the fuqaha, the books of fiqh, the scholars, when they say yasun or yukrah, it is sunnah or makruh, في بعض الأحيان they might not have specific evidence for that thing that they said is sunnah or that thing that they said is makruh. They might not have a specific evidence, but they are using what? A general evidence. So for instance here, even though he said that it is sunnah for you to use the siwak all the time, then he said except when a person who is fasting after zawal, because of the likelihood of yes, the swallowing pieces. And as such, it is makruh. Because of this likelihood, it is disliked for you to do it. But sahih, that's not the case. That's not the case. نعم. ويتأكد عند الصلاة ونحوها. And it is more stressed. يعني after mentioning that it is sunnah for you to use the siwak all the time, he says it is more stressed in the salah, when you are about to pray. وَنَحْوِهَا, and the like places. Now, there are times where, even though the Shaykh said that it is sunnah all the time, there are times where it is more stressed. Number one, it is the whole objective of this topic here, and that is عند الوضوء. عند الوضوء. And عند الوضوء, does it mean before starting the wudu, or while you're doing the wudu? When some of the scholars they mention, they say it is عند المضمضة, when you are rinsing your mouth. And عند means يعني at the start. That's what the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in the hadith. So this is sunnah. It is stressed at this point when you are making wudu. The second time that it is stressed is where the Shaykh mentioned in the salah, when you are about to pray your salah. In the salah, again, does it mean before you enter the salah? Some of the scholars they say in the salah means before you enter the masjid, because the masjid is not a place for siwak, because this is tandif, and the masjid is too honorable for you to be cleaning your mouth while you're about to prepare. So some of them say that you should not use the siwak in the masjid, but this is not correct. Or rather, when you are using the siwak is what? For the pleasure of Allah, mardat li-Rabb. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam used siwak at the presence of his companions. And he sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the most honorable. He will not be doing something which will bring down his honor, or will cause, do you understand, will go against the maru'ah. Are you with me, ikhwani? So as such, this is an act of ibadah. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Inda." Entering the masjid, there is no such thing. Some of the scholars they say that it's muta'akkid for you to use the siwak before entering the masjid. But this is not, there is no dalil for this. There is no specific evidence for this. In the salah, this is the second. The third, where there are different narrations, is, and the scholars are in agreement with this, in the qira'at al-Quran. When you're about to read the Quran, also use the siwak. When you're about to read the Quran, you use the siwak. Number 4, عند الدخول البيت. When you're about to enter your house. As al-Mu'minin Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha was asked regarding the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he comes home, what does he start with? She said he would use his siwak before he enters the house. So this is a time where it is stressed for you to use the siwak. The scholars, they spoke about this. What is the wisdom, the lessons that can be learned? And one of the lessons and the reason that they mention is that this is preparing yourself to mix and to sit and to talk to your wife and to your partner. And in this case, you must present yourself in the most pleasing way to them. And this is what the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. He said, خيركم لأهله وأنا خيركم لأهلي. That the best among you is the best to his ahl. And some of the scholars interpret this to mean his wife. And I am the best to my wife. So as such, this is something which is really neglected. And sometimes as men, we expect and we frown if the wife, she's not presenting herself in a manner that is pleasing to you, but you also are not doing the same. You probably dress better when you're outside with your friends, and at home you're wearing what you don't care. Just like you like to see her dressed nice, that's what she wants to do the same, to see you. And in this case, the scholars, they say this is one of the reasons that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam did this. Use the siwak before entering into his home. And the fifth is preparation for Salatul Jama'ah. It's Salatul Jama'ah. Using siwak before, while preparing for Salatul Jama'ah, just like you do the ghusl. Now, the Shaykh says, يُسَنُّ سِوَاكُ بِالْعُود. بالعود here, it's the stick that is used. Now, if someone doesn't have that, are they allowed to use their finger to run their finger around their mouth, their tongue, and there's no evidence for this. And if this is an act of ibadah, you're doing it as a sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam or mardatan lil-Rabb, then you must not do this. But if you are removing something that's stuck in your mouth or between your teeth and you're trying to prepare for the salah, then this is what? Litanzif. This is for nadaf, for cleanliness, and this is absolutely fine. You're not doing it as an act of what? Act of sunnah. نعم أخي.
وتغير فم ونحوه.
And also it is the times in which it is stressed is when there is there is a possibility that the mouth has changed in terms of the raiha after eating certain types of food, or a long time in which you are silent or you are sleeping. After you wake up, this is the times in which it is stressed for you to use the siwak. Now.
وسن بداءة بالأيمن فيه.
And the sunnah is that you start with the right. You start with the right. So you start from the right hand side to the left. You move from right to left. From the right to left. Now.
وفي طهر وشأنه كله.
And this is the case also when you are making wudu and purification. You also start with the right. So you wash the right hand before the left, right leg before the left, and so on and so forth. No.
والدهان الغبة.
No. Also, the Shaykh says that it is sunnah for you to use dihan not every day, but every other day. But dihan here, some of the scholars, they say it means putting oil or cream on your hair or the beard. Some of the scholars know it's not only for that, but rather also for the body, that you put cream on your face and on your arms. Ghibban is just to stop it means don't be too obsessive. Don't be too obsessive. You do it whenever it is needed. If your body requires creaming day after day, then you do that. If after two days, some people's skins are different, so you use the cream. This is sunnah. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah tabaraka wa ta'ala, he says al-abdu ma'murun, the servant is commanded بإكرام شعره, to honor his hair, but at the same time وينهى عن المبالغة, he is also forbidden from going extreme. There are brothers, can you imagine, they go to the barber shop and their hair is done like a woman. literally, like you'll find them, they've got these things, what they call silver, to like braiding, and he's sitting there for hours. Wallahi. Shows something not right. Huh? You can understand a sister sitting there in front of the mirror and doing her hair, and this is part of her marriage and beautification. This is who she is as a female. But a man spending hours to curl his hair, this is not something, and this is hada manhiyu an, something which is prohibited shar'an, for him to do, not the curling of the hair, but spending too much time in, this can lead to the man becoming more, losing their masculinity and becoming more feminine, feeling of femininity. Literally, everything leads to stage by stage. Stage by stage. So step by step, billah, it becomes more feminine and might start trying on the women's dress as well again. Astaghfirullah. Continue. So the Shaykh says that it is ma'mur, the servant is ma'murun ala ikrami sha'rihi, but not to وَمَنْهِيٌ عَنِ الْمُبَالَغَةِ, for him to do so, go extreme in this. So he says, وَالدِّهَانُ غِبَّةً, to use the cream every other day. نعم أخي.
واكتحال في كل عين ثلاثة.
واكتحال في كل عين ثلاث. اكتحال is for you to use, what do you call it? What do the women put? Eyeliner. Huh? No. Mascara. Eyeliner. This is the mascara that women put on the eye to make the eye stand out more. The Shaykh says, واكتحال في كل عين. اكتحال, to use the mascara in every eye, ثلاثا, 3 times. But it's very important. Here the mascara is not the mascara that the women use for beautification. Rather, it is what is known as ithmit. And this is like dawa. There's 2 reasons why things are put on the eye, this kind of mascara. One, تقوية البصر, as the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentioned, and for issue of relating to medication, you're using it for medical, and you're using it to better, and because ithmit is very, very, it's hot. No, ithmit. No. What's called? Yes, it's the same thing, but there's a specific type, and this is called ithmit. And this, it actually, like when you put it, you feel it's like it's killing the bacteria. Do you understand? Really. The other reason, the second reason is for beautification, and this is for women. What is intended here is not for you to do this as to beautify and show your eyes and how big they are and so on and so forth. This is not the reason. Rather, the reason that you do it is the reason that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam did it. Ayud mikhwani. So the Shaykh says, واكتحال في كل عين ثلاثة. نعم.
ونظر في مرآة.
ونظر في مرآة. And to check yourself and look at the mirror. The Shaykh says here is sunnah. Like this is one of those things that we mentioned, that there is no specific evidence relating to it. That the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, go and look at yourselves on the mirror, or us having that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam stood in front of the mirror checking himself. No. Rather, what we have is the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying, Inna Allah jamilun yuhibbu al-jamal. Allah is beautiful and He loves everything that's beautiful. So as a Muslim, you're encouraged to look after the way that you present yourself and you look in front of people. And if that means that you have to stand in front of the mirror to check if there is anything on your face, to check if your hair is standing or in a manner that's pleasing, if there is anything like, if you've left a few pieces of food and rice in your beard, for you to check this is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, everything has to be what? In proportion. It does not be al-mubalagha where you spend hours and hours like in front of the mirror. Naam. Naam. Also from the sunnah is for you to use perfume. And to use the perfume and to make yourself smell nice. Again, this is coming from the bab of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is among the things that he loved from the dunya. Perfume. And it's from also the jamal that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala loves. Naam. Now, after those affairs that the Shaykh mentioned, he mentioned the siwak and the times in which it is preferred that you use. And then he mentioned other issues which are related to the siwak, which is from beautification and the mandar, the way that you look. And that is using cream or oil, the iktihal, likewise checking yourself in the mirror, using perfume. Now he will list issues that are mentioned by the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam as being khisal al-fitra. In the hadith of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Khamsun min al-fitrati." 5 things are from the characteristics of natural disposition, the cleanliness, and the cleanliness, and from natural disposition. Naam, that every Muslim should be adhering to. And the first of this that the Shaykh mentioned is istihdad. Istihdad, basically all it means is to remove the hair, the pubic hair. The pubic hair, to remove that. And the reason that hadith here is mentioned is the olden days that there was certain type of hadith that was sharp, that was used to be used to shave the pubic hair off. So this was called istihdad. Istihdad means the removal of the pubic hair. This is from the khisal fitra. This is from the sunnah. Na'am.
وحف شارب.
وحف شارب. حف الشارب means shortening or trimming before, until the limit is before shaving. Before shaving. So you trim it. And the line is between removing the hair from coming above the lip up to the point where it totally disappears.
Mustache.
The mustache. What did I say? Huh? Did I not say anything? Oh, okay, I left them. So it means the mustache. Hafiz Sharib. Sharib here means the mustache. The mustache, the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to shorten the mustache is from the sunan. From the sunan. Naam. It's not part of the hadith that we have, but this is also other hadith that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Afu shawarib, ahfu shawarib, wa'fu liha." And shorten or trim the mustache and leave the beard. This is the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is no dalil sarih to say shave. Everything that there are 3 phrases that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned regarding what we do with the mustache, and all of them they indicate to shorten it. And the limit is before the hair comes above the lip, and from the disappearance. So anything that is in between is fine. نعم أخي.
وتقليم ظفر.
وتقليم أظافر. Taqleem is to cut and to shorten the nails. The nails. As the hadith the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned, the hadith of Abu Hurairah, he said, خمس من الفطرة. 5 things are from the fitrah. Al-istihdad, which you mentioned, the removal of the hair from the pubic hair. Al-khitan, 2, which we will mention. نعم. قص الشارب, which we have mentioned. 3, نطف الإبط, plucking the hair from the armpit. That's 4. وتقليم الأظافر, and the removal of the shortening and the cutting of the nails. So here the Shaykh says it is from sunnah for you to cut the nails also. Cut the nails. نعم.
ونتف إبط.
ونطف إبط. إبط here is the armpit. And here what the Shaykh mentioned is plucking. The objective is to remove the hair. So is that if you are to use a shaver, then that's absolutely fine. But the most preferred and what the nusus came with, and the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is mentioned, is what is known as nowadays, what they call this thing that sticks to you and then, what do you call it? Waxing. Yeah, that's it. So if you can find something that's like waxing, you put it and then you do that, then that is the most preferred. Because this goes into with the sunnah. نعم أخي.
وكره قزع.
وكره قزع. قزع is the removal of the hair from and leaving some. So for instance, one might shave sides of his hair and leave the top, or shave the top and leave the sides, or shave everything else and leave just the front part, or shave everything else and leave just the back part. Shaving some and leaving some, this is called ghaza. And the scholars, they say it is makruh. It is disliked. And it becomes haram if it is mushabahat lil kufar. It becomes haram if you are likening yourself to the kufar. So sometimes what some of the brothers do, on what they call them, what do they call them? Fade. Whereas like the hair is big, that goes, and then it gets to a point where there is no hair right at the bottom. It's totally shaved. This is ghaza. It's makruh. This is makruh. And sometimes I see brothers who are mashallah, طلاب العلم with the beard and everything, and then the hair is like this. It's like just scratching your head. One of the brothers came to me yesterday asking me about this. Is it haram? And I said to him, okay, he got the haircut. And I said to him, okay, what do you think if I was to get the haircut and then I started to give the khutbah in front of you? He said, no, that's not. Why do you do it yourself? So he knows it's not something which is, do you understand? It's not befitting of a Muslim who is a talib al-ilm. And if that is the type of haircut that is associated with the disbelievers, then you should not be getting that kind of a haircut. Naam.
ونتف شيب.
Naam. Not for shaving, it means to pluck out the grey hair. So you find a grey hair somewhere and then you're plucking it out. This is something which is makruh. This is something which is makruh. Naam.
وثقب أذن صبي.
Thaq means to make a piercing of the ears of a male baby. This is makruh. And if it is again likened to the kuffar or the likened of the women to the women, then it becomes haram, because it's unnecessary. For a girl, if it's not causing her any harm medically, then it becomes fine, because she requires for her beautification normally, unless it is from the ways that the kuffar do it again. نعم.
ويجب ختان ذكر وأنثى وعيد بلوغ مع أمن الضرر ويسن قبله ويكره سابع ولادته ومنها إليه.
نعم. So the last thing that the Sheikh mentioned, he says ويجب ختان. It is wajib. يعني ختان means circumcision. Circumcision becomes wajib. And then he says ذكر وأنثى, for male and female. When it comes to circumcision, ikhwani, the scholars are in agreement it is legislated for both male and female. It is wajib upon the male. For the women, the most that can be said that it is sunnah, but some of the scholars even hold that there is nothing sarih from the sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam specifically that is encouraging circumcision for women. There's nothing. The only thing is the hadith of Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that إِذَا الْتَقَى خِتَانًا, if the two circumcised parts touch each other, from this description, this is talking about ghusl. Ghusl becomes wajib when the two circumcised parts touch each other, so male and female, both circumcised. But there's nothing else other than that. Now, the scholars have talked about that it is mashru'. What is not mashru', ikhwani, and very important, is what is associated with Islam and has got nothing to do with Islam. And it is the practice that is known as the Fir'auni circumcision, which is practiced by even non-Muslim countries, and unfortunately some Muslim countries. And that is the closure and literally sewing of the female private part together to leave a small space where barely the urine comes out from. And this has a tremendous impact in on their lives. Medically, physically, later on when they are having children, it absolutely impacts them. وَالْعِيَادُ بِاللَّهِ, and whoever devised this issue will be questioned on this matter until وَالْعِيَادُ بِاللَّهِ, on the Day of Judgment. This is nothing to do with Islam. This is evil. And this is not from the deen of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. And any parent or any person who's practicing this, they will be questioned on this. This is not from Islam. In here in the UK and in the West, they have what is known as hysterectomy, where women actually do go to the NHS to get their clitoris shaped in a certain manner for the purification reason. They call it hysterectomy. You can get this done on the NHS. So going back to the point, ikhwani, what the Sheikh here says, it is that it is wajib, but wajib for the men when they are young. When they are young. When a person is in older age, بعد البلوغ, its only condition, he says, مع أمن الضرر, if there is no harm coming, if there is no likelihood of there being any harm to the individual. So if someone becomes a Muslim, we don't say to them, khalas, wajib upon you, go and get your thing done. It's not a wajib. It's a sunnah if it is something that they are capable of doing. Then the Shaykh says, and we'll finish with this inshallah, we'll finish with this bi'idhnillah. He says, وَيُسَنُّ قَبْلَهُ, it is sunnah for you to, he says, وَبُعَيْدَ بُلُوغِ مَعَ أَمْنِ الضَّرَرِ. If it's after bulugh, after 15, age of puberty, then as long as there's not going to be any harm coming from it, then it becomes sunnah. وَيُسَنُّ قَبْلَهُ, and before it, to do it before bulugh, before the age of puberty, it is sunnah. وَيُكْرَهُ سَابِعَ وِلَادَتِهِ, and it is makruh to do it on the 7th day of the wilada. It is makruh. It is rather because it is tashabbuh bil Yahud. The Yahud, they do this on this day. On the 7th day, it must not be done. Do you understand? وَمِنْهَا إِلَيْهَا, and likewise from it to it. So from the first day to the 7th day, it is not, ikhwani, from the first day. So the Shaykh says, وَيُكْرَهُ سَابِعْ وِلَادَتِهِ, the 7th day. it's makruh. And likewise from the 7th to the 1st, so the 6th, the 5th, the 4th, the 3rd, the 2nd, and the 1st, it is makruh. Only after that, until bulugh